This one, again, something I hesitate to call horror, but that may just be me being too picky. There is some... yes, there is some death in it. Yes, there is some gross stuff in it. And there's some weird visual... and there are people that have these deformities and stuff, and visually, the black and white that it's done in, is really interesting, and you could argue it would add to a more kind of horror-esque vibe, but basically it's just a story about a bunch of teenagers in the 70s being depressed and drinking and having sex, and every now and again there's a death thrown in. And yes, we can talk about the metaphors and stuff in it, especially with like these deformities that people get is literally they get them by sleeping with someone that already has it, so it's... anyway. It's not a bad story, though it's funny because someone said that the ending was, they hoped the ending was better, so I was prepared for everything to go down the absolute crapper at the end, and it didn't, so it actually ended a little more positively than I was expecting. And even so, I'm not quite sure how I don't know. I can't say specifically what it was that I didn't like about how it ended. It's not like I can pick apart something in the plot and say, oh, well, I didn't like that they did thing X. No, it was just that the feeling that I had at the end of it wasn't what I wanted it to be, but maybe I'm just hard to please. I don't know. I'm trying to find spot to show you, because this is again one that I can't just flip open to a random page because of visuals, and that's another thing. I guess I've always had iffy feelings about seeing even drawings of individuals who are supposed to be teenagers, and then them doing something vaguely sexual. It makes me uncomfortable. But this, I don't know. It's visually interesting. It actually bothers me in movies less just because it's very obvious to me when I watch a movie that I'm like, yeah, they're saying they're 17, but clearly both of these people that are playing the characters are at least 25. I'm willing to concede the possibility that I just wasn't in the best mood to be reading that, because unfortunately sometimes that does just affect something you've read, where you have less of a good impression of it because of whatever's going on in your life at the time. But it's not bad. And I was gonna show you at least one other image, assuming there aren't boobs on that page. Yeah, I mean, just to show you how kind of out there some of it gets visually. I'm sorry, my stomach is growling. So yeah, not a bad story, kind of dark, kind of introspective, kind of drug-filled, and I say it's mostly pot, okay? But anyway, it's not like they're just sitting there shooting heroin the whole story, or anything. Next up is Witches, spelled with a Y instead of an I. This was more in line with what I was actually looking for when I googled random horror comics and manga and ordered stuff that I shouldn't have. I don't know how well you can tell, but they do this odd like splotches thing on every page. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just interesting visual elements of it. Anyway, it's a story about a girl whose name I can't remember because I've slept since then. It's something interesting. Sorry. Like, if you gave me 4 or 5 choices, I could just pick out which one it was. Sailor. A story about a girl named Sailor who, was very, I don't know, her parents are, I think her mom's like a nurse, and her dad's, writes children's books. Or no, I think he does the art for them too. But their daughter, Sailor, was bullied very heavily the last place they lived. She didn't do anything to the individual that bullied her, but something happened to where rumors were spread because they couldn't find this girl. So they moved away because when there's just a rumor going around that you murdered the person bullying you, then, you know, you're like, maybe we should have you start at a new school, eh? But there are witches with a Y in this story, and they're kind of messed up. And the cat's going crazy. Visually, like the color palette and that is more what I was looking for. Stephen King recommends it, apparently. It's fabulous, a triumph, he says. Yeah, it's a good, I'd say, scary. Again, I feel like this would have been scarier if I had read it. Same place that I read Through the Woods, instead of at home on a couch with a cat sitting on me. It's also a story about parental love and other things, so it's multifaceted, it's fun, and also the flipping witches in this, man. I had this dream some years back, and I don't know, 2010, maybe? 9? And there were these messed up creatures in these trees, and I always said I was going to do something with the story, but now I don't have to, or I was going to do something with these creatures, but now I don't have to, because someone else did it for me, and that's great, because they're pretty darn similar to what was in that dream, and I like that I no longer, I'm like, well, I'll probably never do anything with it, someone else already did it and better, so, yay me. But no, this one and Through the Woods, I really enjoyed. Next up is A Dance with Death, which I do want to clarify is not horror, but it's a good Halloween time read. One of the things I liked is that you can tell these people actually deal in comics because it came in the plastic sleeve with the cardboard behind it, so it doesn't mess up your comic. I like that. Came with bonus illustration, and I just saw it very quickly because I was like, that could be a spoiler, but then I realized you don't know who it is, so it doesn't matter. Basically, the story is about Death and a bunch of other characters at a dance when it's the end of the world. And a lot of people want to dance with Death, and he's like, no, I'm waiting for someone. And then you're like, well, who is he waiting for? Because he denied war, he denied... Well, was he even going to dance with war? I don't know. But there's pestilence, there's greed, there's anger and apathy, who interestingly enough, did not ask him to dance with her. If you're expecting a big action-adventure this isn't it, but it is interesting seeing the way that she's found a way to personify a lot of these attributes. And each of the characters has, that's focused on, really, in any capacity, has some sort of, color accent to an otherwise gray, background. I don't know how well you can see it, but I like it. You can see his eyes a bit from the back and the stupid lighting. Anyway, personally I enjoyed it. I read it online first, and then I ordered a copy so I could have something to hold up when I was talking about it in this video, and they were kind enough to send me this, which I didn't order, but you can order them, but it's a pin, and I think I might have just gotten it as a freebie, potentially, because, well, basically I left a nice comment for the person that wrote it, and mentioned how I came across their comic, because we both went to a event, Mega Steve Otter event, but I went to the one near Chicago and she went to the one near Toronto, and we were on the same forum thing. Different people that went to that event are on, and she mentioned it on there. It came out different comics and that. So I read it online, and then I went to order it, and I think she was really nice, or someone was really nice, and sent me this pin. And my fingers are in the way. So that was very lovely. But yeah, it's fun little read. Look, if you're not sure if you're gonna like it, you don't have to spend money on it. You really just go onto our website and order it, or not order it, excuse me, and read it for free. And then if you like it, you can buy the pin, or read some of her other stuff, buy some of her other stuff. I have not, as of yet, read more of her content, but I'd be interested to. Now there's a cat in the background of the video. Her name is Crystal Yates, and yeah, it was fun. It was a fun one. I thought it was a nice little thing to read around Halloween. And there were just a lot of visually interesting elements of it. Just look it up, seriously, it's free. It's great. And next up, this is by the same... What? I don't even know where it's coming from.